Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. In the last barn video that I posted, I've been trying to intermix the DIY videos with my canning videos and so on and so forth, so it's not too much of one thing. But anyway, the last DIY barn video that I posted, I believe I was doing the framework for the shutters that I'm doing, but I wasn't sure design wise what I was doing. I didn't know if I wanted to do like a double door shutter where they open up to the sides, or if I wanted to do a one door shutter where it just opened up and like from the top to the bottom and opened that way. And so I ran the ideas past my husband, and we both agreed that the double door system would probably be best. So that is what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be building the framework for the doors and then putting the fence panel pieces on it and getting it hung. I picked up some of the hardware and whatnot that I needed because I wasn't sure if we had hinges and whatnot, so I just picked some up while I was at work the one day. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, and the first thing that I need to do is get measurements of the opening. I believe I made it 3 feet, but I'm gonna double check my measurements, and then I'm gonna figure out the size of the double doors. Typically you want these about 1/2 inch smaller than your opening so that you get a tight close for your door or your window or your shutter in this case. So it's tight, but it's not too tight that you can't open and close it, but it's not too much of a gap that it's allowing all kinds of wind and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my measurements, and then I'm going to cut out the framework, which again, I'm just using scraps from the rest of the things that I've been doing in the barn. Get the frames built, cut down my pallet or my fence panel pieces down to size, and get them installed on the barn so that I can close up these windows and we no longer have that breeze coming through here, because it is starting to get really, really cold at night. So the other thing that I'm going to be doing once I finish this project, daylight permitting, is getting the rest of the rabbitry side boarded up as well. We ended up, when I pulled out all of the insulation panels to do like the insulating of the barn here, we realized that they were in absolutely horrible condition and were not usable. So we ended up picking up some new insulation boards. These ones are hopefully a little bit better, a little bit thicker, but I will do a whole different video on that today if I get to it, and we'll get the rabbit side buttoned up today as well. And that will just limit the amount of breeze that comes through this barn, allowing these animals to stay warmer easier. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting some plastic on these doors that go into the barn and into the goat yard. And again, that will just help with some of the cross breeze coming through the barn. And just allow my animals to stay a little bit warmer, a little bit easier without having to put off so much energy. So the game plan for today is to just, for this video anyway, is get those shutters done. That way we can close that up. And then I will go from there today as far as what else I get done. But I'm hoping to kind of get the barn wrapped up today, so that I don't have to be out here in the cold either, because I don't like being cold. But I'm going to stop jabbering on now, and we're going to get our frames made and get these shutters done. I got all of my frame pieces cut out. All of the uppers or the uprights are exactly 12 inches. That will give me a 1/4 inch to the top and bottom of the door to allow for movement. And then again, for the space of my opening, I cut the horizontal pieces at 14 1/4. And this should also, counting the width of these, should give me about a 1/4 inch to the right and left of the door, with also a gap between so that they open and close without brushing up against each other. So I'm going to go ahead and put them together. I'm using exterior wood screws for the initial build, just so that these joints are nice and secure. They are going to be moving. And then I will use these drywall screws to attach the planks to the fronts of them. So let's go ahead and get everything put together. Alrighty guys, so I've got the frames for my shutters built, and I've got the picket fence panels cut down and ready to go. But with the doors having a gap above, below, and left and right, I want to hang the frame part of the door first before I put the picket fence pieces on them, and that way the gaps in the door aren't affected when I put the panels on. I hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang them. I got these 1.5 inch hinges for them. So I'm gonna be using 2 per door. And then I got these barrel bolt locks, I guess you could call them, so that when I close them, they lock in place. So that's what I'll be doing on the inside of the door. And then I got some eye hooks for in the summertime when I want them open all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the hinges on and get the doors hung, and then we'll go ahead and put the pallet pieces on. Alright, so I've got the hinges attached to the frame of the door. Now we want to go ahead and get that hung. And so as you can see, we're going to attach, I'm going to attach the hinges here, and there's gaps between where the frame sits, and this will just allow for easier movement as the wood expands and shrinks throughout the seasons, and won't let that stick to the main frame. So what I might need to do is I might need to go get an extra set of hands to help me hold these in place so that I can get them anchored in. I used the screws that the hinges came with to attach them to the door, but I'm going to use a longer screw to attach it to the barn, and that will just allow for the weight of the door to be better supported on this main hinge here. So I drill. Okay, so the barrel bolts that I bought did not work for this project. One, because my wood is only about 1.5 inches, the exact width of this, and the screws kept wanting to split the wood, and I really don't feel like doing everything all over again. So these did not work. I threw those out, and I made my own lock. So what I did was I took a piece of scrap wood, I cut it into 5-inch pieces and then in half to be about 2 inches, I think. I drilled a hole through it a little bit wider than the screw that I used, and then I put the screw through that into the wood to make like a little lever. Here are the locks. So I drilled a hole, like I said, a little bit thicker than the screw so that I could turn it and then turn it back again. So the screw is firmly secure into the framing of the door, but the hole in this piece of wood allows it to turn without unscrewing the screw. So that's what I did for locks, because like I said, the barrel bolts were not working and this works beautifully. So locks done. Now that the doors are hung and the locks are on the back of them so they're secure, I can go ahead and start, stop squeaking. I can go ahead and start putting the fence panels on the doors on the other side. Alrighty, so I got the pickets on the outside of the doors. I might have to do something different about these hinges because it's still leaving a good bit of cracks left. I'm not sure what to do about this either. I probably should have overhung these ones a little bit, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. But I might just have to rip some pieces to fit here and then put the hinges on top of that. Because this one, unfortunately, has already ripped itself out of the wood, which isn't good. But can't learn if you don't mess up. So overall, I think this turned out pretty good. I might need to make some tweaks, but honestly, for this winter, it's probably more than good enough. It has closed up those holes tremendously, as there's no massive holes there anymore. There is a few gaps, but we do want air circulation, so making it airtight isn't what we were after anyway. So yeah, overall, I think this worked out really well. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to grow where you're planted.